Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Football Martin Channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at Nottingham Forest, and I'm going to be getting the inside scoop on all things Forest ahead of the weekend's big game down at St Mary's as Southampton return to Premier League action against Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. The Saints are back in the big time. Can't wait to get down to St Mary's at the weekend, but I want to get an inside scoop on Forest. How did they perform against Bournemouth at the weekend, and who are their danger men going into this game? And I'm going to get the thoughts from Matt from the Forest Focus very shortly. But before we do so, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to my channel. Football content galore coming your way this season from the Football Martin Channel. And this is the first of my focuses on the away team, and I'm also going to be focusing on all games this season. So each game that Southampton play in the Premier League, I'm going to be doing a pre-match preview with an opposing fan. So I'll be looking for content creators up and down the country to join me to preview each of Southampton's games in the Premier League. Right, we're going to bring in Matt now from the Forest Focus and take a closer look at the weekend's game and what do we need to expect as Southampton fans. I'm now joined by Matt Davis. Matt, thank you very much for joining me. Let everybody know where they can find you first and foremost before we kick things off.
Oh, thanks for having me. I host and do the Forest Focus podcast. So it's like 6 shows a week on Forest, from long form stuff with former players and mates of mine who are just on it all the time, and journalists and stuff, and then some shorter videos, and then post-match shows after every Premier League game. So yeah, it keeps me busy, certainly.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have you on the show today. I couldn't think of anyone better to be joining me today. Well, I want to look ahead, obviously, to the weekend's game in a short while. But first and foremost, just want to talk about the summer just gone. How's the transfer window been at Nottingham Forest? Have you seen much movement in the terms of players going out, players coming in?
Yeah, it's been really good so far, I would say. With Forest, there's always the caveat that we tend to go a bit mental on deadline day and make some crazy 11 p.m. signings. We've always linked with Michy Batshuayi, and it was Chuba Akpom in the last window about 5 to 11. So always a caveat, you don't know what's going to happen. But so far, a couple of big things. We've kept Morgan Gibbs-White and we've kept Murillo, who are our two kind of crown jewels that we thought might go. And we've got other good young players like Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi who potentially could have gone. So we kept all those on board. Big thing was avoiding PSR charge. That was hanging over our heads after the points deduction last season. Managed to do that with some funky transfers, selling players to Lyon for quite a lot of money. Like quite a few teams did that. And then incomings, we've signed Elliot Anderson from Newcastle. Obviously, you guys played them last week, and that feels like good business. Got him for about 15 million when you subtract what we sold our second choice goalkeeper Odysseus for Kodamos to for Newcastle, and Nikola Milenkovic, who's a centre half who probably isn't very well known, but he's played 200 odd games in Serie A, 50 caps for Serbia.
Highly thought of.
Yeah, best aerial statistics in terms of winning duels in Serie A last season. So really pleased to get him. Alex Moreno's come in from Villa on loan, but he won't play at the weekend, I'm sure, because he hasn't even trained with us yet. But that's good business. And then hopefully we're getting Eddie Nketiah. That looks likely. So I think that's a pretty exciting one. It's divided fans a little bit. But again, if he comes in, he wouldn't feature at the weekend. So, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape overall.
Yeah, been a busy summer. You kicked off your Premier League campaign at home against Bournemouth. Talk us through the game. Finished up 1-1. What were the highlights from the opening day?
It was a strange game in a way. It was also a really typical Forest game. So we started off absolute nightmare start. Poor Danilo broke his ankle 8 minutes in.
So nasty.
Yeah, it's never nice when you see the curtains come round a player and they're stretchered off. But fortunately, it looks like he's going to be back around Christmas time, which is great news for us. So the players recovered really well from that. We took the lead against Bournemouth, played some really good stuff. Chris Wood scores. So all good first half. And then I think a mixture of us backing off second half, and credit to Iraola for his tactics. But Bournemouth were definitely the better team in the second half. And we ended up drawing it 1-1. We conceded a late goal at 88 minutes, so that always hurts. But I think a point was fair overall. Bournemouth are a real bogey side of ours. I'm sure they're not too popular with you either, but
Yeah.
we got a terrible record against them. So kind of content with a point. Feels like a game we probably should have won, but maybe didn't deserve to overall.
I was looking on Flash Score early on this morning, looking back at the statistics on the players, see who rated the best. And Chris Wood was given the man of the match for the game. How did he perform? Was he? Do you think if you can keep him fit, he could be really important this season at Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, he wasn't man of the match. To be fair, he literally had one. You can give him man of the match since he had one shot on goal and he scored it, which is what you want to see from a striker. So
Yeah.
he's ultra prolific in terms of converting chances. Statistically, he's got a better conversion rate last season than Haaland and Watkins and all those players. We don't create a huge amount of chances, but he is key to how we play right now. That might evolve when Nketiah comes in, but yeah, he's important to us. We've got Tyro Wanya off the bench. What we do have is a really exciting kind of trio of attacking players behind him in Gibbs White, Elanga, and Hudson-Odoi, who have moments of brilliance, but probably just don't create enough in terms of the volume of chances and maybe the quality of chances. It feels like since Nuno's come in, we're almost there to being the mid-table team. So looking at this game, it feels like a really good test of where we are at. Because I think going to a promoted team for their first home game of the season is, with all due respect, it's not like Man City or Liverpool away, but it is a tough test. And it's a good barometer of where we're at, I think, certainly.
Yeah, the stats are not great for us, actually. Since moving from the Dow to St Mary's in 2001, Southampton, we've really struggled on our opening Premier League home openers. We've scored, securing just one victory out of 16 attempts for our first home game. That lone win came back in 2004. It was a thrilling 3-2 victory over Blackburn Rovers. Since then, though, Saints have failed to win any of their last 11 Premier League home openers. So I would say the statistics don't sit nicely for us. But we've made some changes at St Mary's. So any Forest fan that is making their way south at the weekend will be in a different part of the stadium. We've moved the away fans into the south stand, which is in the Kingsland the Kingsland Chapel corner. A total change of the northern stands where the away fans were. That's going to be a all standing Southampton section now. So it'll be interesting how much noise what we can create. But I think home atmosphere will be really important for us. Be interesting to see what it's like at St Mary's. What are you expecting on your visit to the South Coast at the weekend, Matt? How do you feel about facing Southampton?
I can't get over that stat. That's mind blowing. That first day stat, how bad it is. I mean, I'm sure every fan would say this, but if there's ever a club you want to face to break a stat like that, it feels like it's Forest. So I don't know if it fills me with more confidence or more dread. I'm really interested in the dynamics of the game in terms of what I'm expecting from Southampton. You know, they've come up as a promoted team playing this really interesting brand of football with Russell Martin, the way they pass the ball, the way they look to control games. Can they do that in the Premier League? Such a big question, especially at home where they're probably going to need to be a little bit more front foot than they are away from home. And how Forest react to that? Do they sit back and look for mistakes? Do they press and look to force mistakes? From the goalkeeper and stuff like that. It's an interesting dynamic. Whether it's a good matchup for us or not, I think it might be because we're a team that can sit back and hit on the break with pace. So yeah, I kind of look at how Southampton played at Newcastle and feel like maybe people are underestimating them a little bit and the wider footballing community of the three promoted clubs. Ipswich are the kind of golden boys that people love because of the story, which is great, fair play. And Leicester I think people are writing them off quite a lot, and I can sort of see why. And Southampton have been written off as well, and so it's an interesting test for players like Adam Armstrong. Can he deliver in the Premier League? Ben Brereton Diaz, can he do it after a really bright 6 months at Saints?
You would know him very well.
Yeah, he did really well for us when he started. He broke into our team at a time when we were pretty bereft, to be honest. He was 18 playing as a lone striker and did well and went to Blackburn and had a good time there. Obviously, Villarreal didn't work out for him, but he's a player I was quite keen for us to sign as a different wide option or potentially backup striker as well. We were linked with Shea Adams as well, quite strongly on a free. So yeah, there's some interesting dynamics at play.
With Brereton Diaz, he's been linked with loads of clubs over the summer before signing for Southampton. Is he a player that you would have taken at Forest this summer if that opportunity had come up?
Yeah, we've gone elsewhere. We've looked in terms of South Americans. I mean, I know Brereton Diaz isn't really South American. Is Chile in South America? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Central America or South America. But anyway, yeah, we've gone for a wide option in Ramon Sosa and Jota Silva, who played in Portugal. So we've looked elsewhere, and we're signing Nketiah, hopefully. But
that's a great bit of business.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Southampton fans were calling for him. Somebody I think they would love to see us signing right now. I don't think he's anywhere realistic for us right now, where we're at right now. But as an established Premier League team, I think for you guys, I think that's a brilliant bit of business.
I think so, definitely. I mean, I would have taken Brereton Diaz certainly as a backup striker, a different option out wide. But it shows how hard it is. Like we were talking on our show about bridging the gap from us struggling to stay up for 2 seasons to trying to ease those relegation worries and break into the middle of the pack. And you've got to spend so much money. Like Eddie Nketiah, 30 million, it would probably be. He's proven himself to an extent in the Premier League, but you look at to really get a proven Premier League striker with experience, they cost 60 million quid for Solanke. So trying to break into the next bracket of the table's really tough. And obviously, I'd be delighted if we stayed up again this season. I'm sure you would, but just staying in the league is such a challenge. And if we can do it again, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, when you look ahead to the season, is that the aim, just to stay in the division, the key target?
I think it's the first target, isn't it? You say 17th is just like the benchmark.
Absolutely.
And we were looking. A lot of fans and people on our podcast are saying, can we finish anywhere from 12th to 17th? There's loads of teams in the bracket of Fulham, Brentford, Palace, Everton. Wolves will be the other one. Can we finish above enough of them to make it a better season? But first and foremost, you want to finish above the 3 promoted teams. When we came up, teams would have said that. I'm not trying to diss Southampton or anything, but if you finish above those, you feel like you've got a decent chance, because the odds say it's tough to stay up when you come up. So yeah, I take 17th, but I'm aiming for anything from 12th downwards would be perfectly fine with me. Yeah,
when you look ahead to your predicted starting 11 against Southampton at St Mary's the weekend, how do you think you'll line up? Do you think it'd be a similar 11 to what was fielded at the weekend against Forest?
I think
against
so.
Bournemouth, sorry.
Yeah, I think so. We mean some away games, I think we'll play 3 at the back. We've got the personnel to do it, but I don't think we will in this one, because we've got the pace of Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, and it feels like it might be a good avenue for us. So I think it'll be Matt Sells in goal, who might well be replaced come the end of the window. He's been fine for us, but I think Forest feel like they can get an upgrade there. Nico Williams right back, Olorena left back because Moreno is not ready. Murillo, 1 centre-back, and then either Bolly or Milenkovic. Milenkovic missed the first game because he was suspended because he got sent off for Fiorentina in an Italian Cup game and didn't serve the ban. Okay. So had to serve it in the Premier League, which was frustrating, to say the least. And then Sangare probably paired with Ryan Yates, who came on for Danilo. And it feels like a good Ryan Yates game because he's combative and he'll put his foot in and try and disrupt Southampton. And then the 3 players I mentioned, Elanga, Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi, in support of, I'm sure it'll be Chris Wood, although Taiwo Awoniyi is a really good option off the bench. I know he scored the goal at St Mary's last time we played there, and he's a really good player as well. But yeah, that's how I'd expect us to line up, 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, and as a Southampton supporter tuning into the show, who should we be really wary of? Who do you feel that could really hurt the Saints at the weekend?
I think if Morgan Gibbs-White turns it on in any given game, he's probably the one. I kind of ask that same question to people when I'm hosting and flipping the question, and opposition fans always say Morgan Gibbs-White because he can produce moments of magic. So he'd be first and foremost, and then if you give Chris Wood a chance, he'll take it. And if you give Callum Hudson-Odoi, if you've got a right back who's a little bit naive, and we were speaking earlier, and I think you questioned, the challenge of your right back settling into the Premier League. Hudson-Odoi can cut in, he can bend it in the top corner. He did it low. He did it literally 8 times last season. He scored 8 goals. I think they were all the same. So if you're not savvy with defending Hudson-Odoi, then I think he can definitely hurt you as well. They'd be the ones I'd be looking at, certainly.
Yeah, I wonder how Russell Martin has set up his right back, because he actually took Sigawara off at half time against Newcastle. I think the fact that they were down to 10 men, it wasn't necessarily his performance at the weekend, but he did take him off at half time and switch things around a bit, added another man in midfield to try and to really pen Newcastle in, which did work. It'd be interesting to see if he reverts back to Kyle Walker-Peters at right back. I have a funny feeling listening to him, Matt. I think he may do that. We're covered at left back if he wants left back. So I just think we've been playing our two best fullbacks, but I think sometimes you need your best right back against someone like that as well, because he could cause us a lot of problems. I totally agree. I do feel a little bit nervous about this one. I've got to be honest. First game back in the Premier League at St Mary's for the Saints. But before you go, Matt, I want to get your score prediction. How do you feel the game's going to finish? I always like to ask this one to my guests.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think Forest fans will go there expecting to get a result because they just look at it and think, oh, we're a promoted team. They're a promoted team. We should win. Probably your fans look at it and think this is a big opportunity for us because Forest has struggled the last 2 years. I mean, I would take a draw if I was offered it right now. You never know how a game's going to play out because, we could score in the 87th minute and it feels like a winner and vice versa. But I don't think a point's a terrible result for either team. Like, it gets you off the mark. It gets us a point on the road and, we'd be 2 unbeaten. If either team wins, then I think it'll be, no one's going to blow the other team away. It's going to be really tight. I suppose I feel like I have to say Forest is going to win, don't I, as the opposition fan?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd certainly take a draw, but I think we could go there and win 2-1. We're not a team that necessarily keeps clean sheets, but if our wingers turn it on and Morgan Gibbs-White turns it on, then I could see us winning the game. But I think it's going to be a really tight competitive match, certainly.
Yeah, no, I do. I think it's going to be a tight game. I give my thoughts earlier on in my show. I kind of feel it's going to be a draw. I'm going to go with a few goals. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw in this one. That's my gut feeling. I don't think we win it, but I don't think we lose it. Looking forward to seeing Nottingham Forest down on the South Coast this weekend. Matt, really appreciate you coming on the Football Martin channel today. It's been a pleasure to have your insight. I couldn't have wished for a better Nottingham Forest fan to come on today.
No, pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really hope you enjoy the game and good luck for the rest of the season, after this one and when you play us at the City Ground. Yeah,
definitely. I'm looking forward to the trip to the City Ground. I've not been for many, many years. So really excited to come back up since there have been a few changes since I've last been back in the 90s. So really looking forward to travelling up later on in the season. So thank you very much for joining me and we'll catch up again later in the season.